Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. Uh, Five-ish stories to cover this week, so not a whole lot, but still a decent amount. So we're going to jump into it, and we're going to start by talking about the live patch notes that have gone live this week. And it is a pretty small update. It's a general update. Remember last week they had a change where ground targeted abilities such as Reaper Shadow Step, Mace Ice Wall, Symmetra's Teleporter. They changed it so that they will now more heavily prefer edges over placing as far away as possible, but they have reverted that so that it is no longer the case. So that's the only change that they made to the live server, the only live patch that they made, but there was a pretty big PTR patch. So, to begin with, they said an announcement that patch 1.41 is a remaster and will require a relatively large download for all platforms. They have to do this every so often. I believe they had to do it last year, back when they did the... Which patch was it? I believe it was when they did Archives back in 2018. I believe they had a big remaster patch, so every so often they do this, and it's just to kind of there's just some stuff you have to change and whatnot with the game. So it's a big patch. It does take a little bit of time to download, but it's not too bad. At least it wasn't for me, but I have decent internet, so it could take a while. But just letting everybody know it is a relatively large download. But let's go into the hero updates with this patch. The first is to D.Va, whose defense matrix regeneration rate was increased from 12.5% to 16% per second, and the delay before regeneration begins lowered from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. So, D.Va getting a little buff there. Orisa's protective barrier cooldown was increased from 9 to 10 seconds. It was just recently increased from, I believe, 8 to 9. So, a 2-second increase, basically, over the past 2 months. That's pretty big for Orisa. Roadhog's scrap gun ammunition was increased from 5 to 6. That's pretty nice. Sigma had a slew of changes. Kinetic Grasp no longer blocks Chain Hook and Whip Shot. Good, because that was pretty ridiculous. Gravitic Flux, its high gravity duration was reduced from 1.2 to 0.9 seconds. I believe that is what happens when you hit the ground, but I'm not positive. When you kind of get like stuck when you're on the ground, I believe that's what that is. Experimental barriers regeneration rate was reduced from 175 to 150 per second. It now has a 1 second cooldown after recalling the barrier, and the initial 0.2 second cast time was removed. Winston's barrier projector had its duration increased from 6 to 9 seconds, and its health increased from 600 to 700, so it makes his barrier a little bit better. Still not amazing, but better. Baptiste's immortality field health was decreased from 250 to 200. I think that's a pretty nice change. Lucio's crossfade speed boost's effect was increased from 20% to 25%. Amp It Up speed boost amplification increased from 50% to 60%. And wall ride speed buff was reduced from 40% to 30%. So, kind of reverting some Lucio changes that were made a little bit. I don't know if they're exactly reverting, but there was a point in time where they upped his wall ride speed and lowered all of his speed boost stuff. But now they have increased the speed boost stuff and lowered the wall ride again. So we'll see how that feels with Lucio. Mercy's Valkyrie had a change where the beams that are created by Valkyrie, the extra ones, now no longer ignore enemy. Or no, they now ignore enemy barriers. They used to not ignore enemy barriers, but now they do. So it's like Moira's Coalescence, where they'll just go through barriers. They don't really care. Moira's Biotic Grasp self-healing was reduced from 30 to 20 health per second. I think that's a pretty good change. Hopefully end some of these DPS Moiras that I keep seeing in my games. Doomfist had a couple changes. Rocket Punch's time to reach max charge increased from 1 to 1.4 seconds. And the best defense shield health gained per hit was reduced from 35 to 30. Sombra's Translocator cooldown was increased from 4 to 6 seconds. And the cooldown now begins immediately upon deploying the beacon or if it is killed by an enemy. Symmetra's Photon Barrier duration was reduced from 15 to 12 seconds. and the health was reduced from 5,000 to 4,000. The sentry turret damage was, per second was reduced from 50 to 40. Photon projector, players impacted by the primary fire beam should now hear a louder impact sound. Interesting. And the final hero update is that Tracer's pulse pistol's damage fall off now starts at 13 meters, up from 10 meters. There's also, of course, some bug fixes, as there always is, so you can check those out in the description in the full patch notes if you want to see those. It's interesting. I don't think it's going to change a lot. I'm not the only one who doesn't think it's going to change a lot. I've seen several pro players tweet that they don't believe it'll change a lot, including Jake, who I actually think had to be one of the better tweets on it. He said, hoping to be wrong, but I don't anticipate this PTR patch changing much beyond making Bastion May more attractive than Doom Reaper. Can't imagine another tank line competing it, and the nerf to Doomfist just shuts down the only DPS counter. Sombra uptime buff is nice, but her real issue is getting stuffed by Sigma's shield when she attempts a farming phase. EMP itself is also fundamentally weak to May / Reaper / Moira / Orisa. Can just solo dodge with an instant skill, especially with the new longer cast time. Just copy paste Winston's jump hack over Orisa's Fortify and Dive is back in business. Think about it. I want to see Orisa gallop through the sky again. Tragic they fixed the halt launch bug. So, that is someone's thoughts, and Jake isn't the only person that has said that he doesn't think this patch will change much. I just thought that Jake had the one that was the most kind of defined of the tweets that I saw, but he's not the only person that said it won't change much. So I don't think it'll change much, at least in the higher ranks. Obviously, Jake is a pro player, so you're going to see a lot more things that don't really change when you're in Grandmaster. But I think if you're in the lower ranks, you're in gold, you're in silver, you're in plat, you're in bronze, you're going to see some changes probably. You may see Diva more often, though you still see Diva all the time. You may see some more Winston. You definitely will see a lot more Lucio everywhere, because Lucio was already played a lot and is now going to be played even more. So those are the things that I'm kind of taking away from this, but I don't expect it to change much overall. Let's move on now to the fact that this weekend we have the Overwatch League Grand Finals from Philadelphia, from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. They take place Sunday, September 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, it will be between the San Francisco Shock and the Vancouver Titans, which you can watch on Twitch, on ABC, or on the ESPN app. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about. So, obviously, as you know, there will be some performing done. Zed will, of course, be the performer for the Grand Finals. He'll be performing before the Grand Finals, or halftime, but I believe it's right before. But there's also going to be some other people there. There will be an in-house DJ during the entire thing. It'll be Questlove, who you may know because of his association with Jimmy Fallon, or a bunch of the other things that he has done throughout his career. Also, on September 28th, before the Overwatch League Grand Finals, the day before, Martin Garrix will be performing outside of the Wells Fargo Center. So those are two additional performances, or, well, I guess one additional performance and one additional person who will be present at the whole situation. There will also be an outdoor fan fest, which will open at 10 a.m. Eastern in the Wells Fargo Center parking lot. You gather your friends and family and enjoy hours of free fun before doors open at 1 p.m. to ticket holders. Fan Fest will feature a live DJ, several photo opportunities, face painting, lots of giveaways, merchandise for purchase, and plenty of food and beverages. And it'll feature fun activities from their partners, Bud Light, Coca-Cola, Dream Seat, Fanatics, State Farm, T-Mobile, Tesla, Toyota, Upper Deck, and Xfinity. So, that's that. But the other thing is, for people who will not actually be able to make it to the Grand Finals, there are things you can get by watching, and they are sprays, just like last year. So, To celebrate the 2019 Overwatch League Grand Finals on September 29th in Philadelphia, we're giving fans the opportunity to earn exclusive in-game benefits, including 2 sprays, a player icon, and double league tokens. So, if you watch for, and you should be seeing the stuff on screen now, if you watch for 1 hour, you will unlock the Tailgate Spray, which I think is pretty cool. If you watch for 2 hours, you will unlock the Grand Finals 2019 Player Icon. And if you watch for 3 hours, you will get the Watching Ball Spray, which is by far my favorite one. To do this, you just have to, of course, watch the stream and link your Twitch account to your Battle.net account, which I have a link in the description that will explain how you can do all that. I've talked about it in the past. If you haven't done it before, it's very easy, and it's something to do. So, if you're going to watch it, you're going to want to have the, you want to keep your stream up, because there's no way you're going to do it otherwise. If you're going to a watch party, you might want to leave your computer on at home so you can get all this stuff going on. Or if you're going to watch party, you can bring your computer. Make sure you're the one who's streaming it, because that's how you will get all of your sprays and your player icon. But I think they're pretty cool. I really like them. I like the Watching Ball one especially. I thought the ones from last year were good, but I think these ones are actually better. I like the artwork better for these ones. But they're all good. Finally, go to our last story, which is an interesting one. This comes out of Australia. It's a Polygon article by Nicole Carpenter. Police reportedly investigating organized crime link to Australian Overwatch Contenders team. Didn't think that would be the headline you'd hear today, did you? No, you probably didn't. It's an interesting article. It's pretty short, so I'll read the whole thing. But it says, an Australian Overwatch Contenders team is under investigation for alleged links to organized crime, Australian news site ABC reported yesterday. Police in Victoria, Australia's Sporting Integrity Intelligence Unit told ABC that, quote, betting anomalies, end quote, were reported for an Australian Overwatch Contenders team's matches. There are 8 teams participating in the Australian Overwatch Contenders event: Athletico, Ground Zero Gaming, Legacy Esports, Melbourne Mavericks, Mindfreak G, Order, Sydney Drop Bears, and Warriors, but the team under investigation was not named. So we don't know which team is under investigation, we just know it is one of those 8 teams. Quote, there's no test of a fit and proper person to be engaged as an owner of an esports team, end quote. Victoria Assistant Police Commissioner Neil Patterson told ABC, quote, we are seeing people encroach on that area that have reputations that mean they probably shouldn't be involved in this part of esports, end quote. Patterson added that 2 Australian players reportedly, quote, told their associates to bet on the fixed matches, end quote, according to the ABC report, which was spotted by Kotaku Australia this morning. Polygon has reached out to Blizzard Entertainment and Victoria Police about the investigation. In August, multiple Counter-Strike Global Offensive players were arrested in Australia during the ongoing match-fixing investigation. ABC's latest report suggests 6 players were arrested during the investigation so far. Patterson said he expects dozens more could be implicated. The report also noted that up to $30,000 could have been won in games involving match fixing. So, something going on there in Australia, and it's quite weird and quite interesting. Now, Australia will not be present in the Gauntlet that takes place next month. And I think it's actually next week that it takes place. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so the Gauntlet takes place soon. Takes place, I believe, next month. So, or like next week, whatever it is. But so we won't see this have an impact there because there is no team that is represented from Australia in the Gauntlet. But this is an interesting story, something that I will probably continue to follow as things come out for it. But we will find out when we get to more information on it, because we don't have any more information on it. But clearly match fixing for esports is a bit of a problem down in Australia. But that's all I have for you this week. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the stories, anything that you feel that you want to comment on. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and Bye.